Brothers and sisters was popping. Yeah, I'm a couple days late and more than $1 short, but don't worry, it's all gonna be all to the good. I don't need none of that. Got a couple articles we're gonna go through real quick, and then I'm gonna break it down. Rick on thin ice, and I literally mean there's a metaphorical meaning to this, and then there's like the literal. Obviously winter is coming to an end. Blah blah blah. But the seemingly symbiotic relationship between Rick and White Heaven, because certain parts of Rick enjoy some of the top tier benefits of White Heaven, but for the most part, they're locked out of the power, which is why they're fighting for. This is what Rick at one point was on top. Let's go ahead and we're gonna because I don't normally do White Heavens and Ricks at the same time, and I can't help but to do this one because I want people, number one, to realize the relationship is so frayed between the Anglo-Mongoloid. And this is why when people act like that shit doesn't matter, they act like if you tell me one dude has a Russian mother and a Chinese father, and this other guy has, let's say, a, um, a father from Kazakhstan, right? And then his mother is from Mongolia, right? Like, you got to understand, that changes how people view life. Because those nuanced histories of similar and sometimes same blood people, and then amalgamated or incorporated peoples, or just dominated people altogether, or people that were thoroughly vanquished and done away with, right? Where maybe because you never know who's going to avenge you. Let me say it like that. You know how like these celebrities have like fanatics that they call fans, but that's the word. They have fanatics. And their fanatics are willing to kill. Or not to say that you or I will ever have fanatics, but there are people that will be in a frenzy because of how they feel about you if something were to happen to you. There's people who I'm not a fanatic of, but if something were to happen to them, especially an act of violence, my natural course of action would be something that I don't normally do. Right on? I don't normally go out of my way to do X, Y, Z. But because ABC happened, XYZ is a natural occurrence. That being said, back to Rick, back to White Heaven, Rick on thin ice. There have been a collection of incidents, but one of the ones that I really wanted to use, I'm going to pull up the screen and I'm going to share it. It's a very interesting one. I like to get these good websites. It's just better when it says .gov, something about that. Y'all know how I am. ICE arrests illegal alien semi-truck driver who what? Killed 4, injured others in Indiana. February 5, 2026. And I need y'all to understand, when I made this video, this dude was going to be the whole piece of the video. Like, this is all going to pretty much be about this dude, and I was going to break down how, understand, he killed these people. Now, I'm going to say he killed them unintentionally. People in smaller vehicles kill 3 and 4 people in other cars all the time. So he's a semi-truck driver. So only killing 4 people, which is still a bunch of people, one loss is too many, is still something that I have to look at and say, okay, right, he only got these 4. He didn't do what some of these other guys do. That being said, I don't think it was intentional. Now imagine what's going to happen when, let's read this dude's name. They said he entered the U.S. illegally using the disastrous, listen, this is on a .gov site. Now, of course, this is Trump's administration, but for them to even word it like this is like to poo-poo the Biden administration. You know what I'm saying? And then to point out everything like, I mean, it tells you how they're feeling. Rick is on thin ice. They're tired of these people. They're tired of these dudes. It's one thing for somebody to be named Kobylewski. It's another thing for one of these dudes to show up, really doesn't really speak the language like that, and then you kill some people on the freeway driving a commercial vehicle when you shouldn't even be allowed to drive this vehicle because you're not qualified in this nation. Right on? You don't meet the criteria for this nation. Because there's no way you could be from a foreign country and then just automatically get a CDL. It's just nonsensical. Anyway, on February 5, ICE arrested an illegal alien semi-truck driver issued a commercial driver's license by Pennsylvania who killed 4 innocent people on February 3 when this year, y'all. This is February 3rd. Today's the 10th. This is 1 week ago this happened. When he swerved into oncoming traffic and struck a van in head-on collision. Now let's look at this dude's name, his age. His name is Bezkhan Biashkif, right? Bez Bekzan Biashkif, something like that. Anyway, born on June 23rd, 1995. So this dude ain't no little boy. This is a grown ass man. But look how he looks. I gotta blow this dude's face up. Look how he looks, y'all. Does that look like? No, that's a Euro Asian for sure. Again, that's Rick. That's 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 really all three of them. That's really Russia, Iran, and China. This is the culmination of that a lot of the time. Now, he might have his face shaved, but some of those dudes be void of facial hair. But the point that I'm making is this. Rick is on thin ice. Because I'm sure there's a time where if political whatever wasn't at the heights that it's at, this might not even have made the news. Might not have even been a thing. Might be something that none of us know about. Just like all the other countless crimes that these foreigners commit when they come to America that don't get broadcasted every day on the news, so we know. They don't do that. And so this right here is this is why I'm trying to tell y'all, Rick is on thin ice. This made Fox News. When I first seen it, it was on Fox News, right? Let's just keep reading. Bekzan Biashkiv, a 30-year-old national of Kyrgyzstan, right? Kyrgyzstan, illegally came to the United States using the Biden administration's disastrous CPP-1 app and was released into the United States. Even worse, Pennsylvania, under Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro's leadership, issued him a commercial driver's license. Now, I'm telling y'all, most of those dudes who got those licenses, whether people want to hear it or not, they told these people they used to drive trucks back at home. Look, listen, whether they lied or was telling the truth, I just know you got to understand how things work. There's things you have to say in order for this to be initiated. They weren't just like, hey, do you want to drive a truck? We'll just give you a license. That's not what they said. Pretty sure this dude probably told these people, hey, this is what I did back home, blase, blase, blase. But now let's check this out. On February 3rd, at approximately 4 p.m., Yeshkev was traveling eastbound on Indiana State Route 67 when he allegedly failed to brake for a slow semi-truck in front of him. So being impatient, he didn't want to slow down. Police say he swerved into the westbound lane and slammed into a van carrying up to 15 passengers. 4 people were killed in the crash. This fatal crash being investigated is being investigated by Indiana State Police, the Jay County Sheriff's Department, and the Jay County Coroner's Office. Look at this. Look at this. Crushed it. Now, again, do I think he seen that van and was like, I'm about to smack that van? No. But again, allegedly failed to brake for a slowed semi-truck in front of him. So he didn't have the vision. He couldn't see, just got over immediately. And this van, I'm guessing, was probably in the blind side of the other semi-truck. So this guy can't see because he's just passing right on over. He just shoots on up. It's too late because he has to commit. Crazy. Wow. I mean, wow. And I'm just visualizing how it happened. But this is why he didn't kill all 15 of them, because he didn't just plow right through the van. He tried to stop. That's what I'm getting. Word from all this. But still, let's keep going. ICE issued an immigration detainer against Bieshkiv with the Jay County Jail on February 4th. And because the state of Indiana cooperates with ICE, we were able to take him into custody on the morning of February 5. He will remain in ICE custody pending immigration proceedings. Not only was Bekzan Bieshkiv released into our country by the Biden administration using the CPB-1 app, but he was also given a commercial driver's license by Governor Shapiro's Pennsylvania. These decisions have had deadly consequences and have led to the death of 4 innocent people in Indiana on Tuesday. Listen. We're going to finish it out in a second. But do y'all realize how crazy this is? Like, this isn't like a in the last maybe year and a half, since maybe a little bit before Trump got into office, but right when they was starting to, do the ramp up for the real life, like elections and whatnot, there was a lot of these articles coming out of these dudes, coming from wherever. But I used to see a inordinate number of them being like Indian dudes or Somalian. Every once in a while, it'd be an African. Maybe once somebody seen like a Russian looking, any kind of like, pale skinned Eastern European. And I'm sure they've been in the accidents. I'm sure they've had a bunch of stuff happen. But it's just the idea that this dude right here killed 4 people and they politicize it. And he's not the only one. Again, this is one of the major stories that had made Fox News and a couple other ones, because they was like, dude's not supposed to be here, and he's, in this instance, another one of these dudes who done got one of these cereal box licenses, and he didn't kill somebody. 4 people. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. It is incredibly dangerous for illegal aliens who often do not know our traffic laws or even English to be operating semi-trucks on American roads. These sanctuary governors must stop giving illegal aliens commercial driver's licenses before another American gets killed. In recent months, we've seen a disturbing pattern of criminal illegal aliens driving commercial vehicles on American roads, directly threatening public safety and resulting in the senseless loss of life. ICE also arrested Akrar Bazarov, a criminal illegal alien from Uzbekistan, wanted in his origin country for belonging to a terrorist organization in November, who also issued a CDL by Pennsylvania. Listen, now we're going to pull him up in a second. In October, Secretary Noem highlighted the arrest of more than 140 illegal alien truck drivers arrested in Indiana during Operation Midway Blitz. That's just Indiana, y'all. That's one state. That's one state. You guys understand how dangerous this shit is. These dudes do not read English. It's dangerous. Anyway, don't speak it, don't read it, and they driving. And they're looking at signs, or supposed to be looking at signs, right? That are all in what? English. Additionally, in October, ICE arrested illegal alien Amnal, who was issued a commercial driver's license by the state of New York. No name given Amnal. This is crazy. In August, ICE lodged a arrest detainer for a criminal illegal alien, Harjinder Singh, following the arrest of his 3 counts of vehicular homicide while driving a semi-truck in Florida. Listen, y'all, Rick, listen, Rick is on thin ice. You're not done. See, this is where it's always fun. I have a great time being with my brothers and my sisters, just speaking to y'all and just trying to show you guys like this allegiance is a frail one. And in another year, the damage will be permanent. Like, it won't matter who gets voted in. Some of these countries who already hate America and have a axe to grind, they're gonna have a real reason. Now, this one right here is gonna get a little dark because I'm gonna delve into some places that we don't normally delve into um, to speak to it, so that way we're all on the same page. You know, it's just one of them things. So, after a second arrest linked to illegal biolabs, Rep. Kiley urges hearing on bipartisan public health bill. Congressman Kevin Kiley, he's a Republican out of California, is urging Congress to take action on his legislation after the FBI investigated a home in Las Vegas for operating an illegal biological laboratory, which may be related to a Chinese Communist Party (CCP) linked biolab in Reedley, California. It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter if they're linked or not. The fact that you're finding dudes who were Chinese, right? And I remember bringing up the articles to y'all of these dudes trying to bring in, getting caught with like certain bioweapons and like different pathogens and stuff. Listen, one of these dudes got. I don't want to say too much crazy stuff that I can't prove, but I do have to speculate, and it's more or less speculation than it is conjecture. If you had, let's just pick the year 1970. It's 56 years ago, so called. Let's say for 56 years, you've had unquestionable, unfettered access through the border. And it doesn't matter how they've locked it down. I don't ever remember seeing at any part of the border there being Geiger counters. Why this is so important is because anybody could have brought in trace amounts of this, trace amounts of that, trace amounts of this, trace amounts of that, trace amounts of this, trace amounts of that, over a 56-year period, and especially where you had a 4-year period where there was just, tens of millions of people flooded into the country. You don't know who these people are. You don't. Like, everybody who's thinking like, oh man, Trump is a bigot for trying to throw these people out, is deeper than rap, y'all. It's bigger than the money. It's serious. My God is blessed because he's always like, tell the people what they need to know, means so that way they're not knowing. Tell them to bless me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bless the Father because he's righteous. Because that's what we're supposed to do. That's how I'm able to tell you these things, because he's always given me some insight somewhere. You know, where with this is like, this is super duper serious, y'all. We probably got people trying to make, for the want of better words, mini nukes, not even tactical ones. You know, too small to kill thousands of people, but most definitely could kill hundreds and still be radioactive. Um, I just They're going to talk about the stuff that they found here in a second. We'll get to that. I want y'all to really understand. Again, they told us who they wanted us to hear about in that last article, as far as the people who've been getting caught on the highway, and 100+ arrests, right, in just one state of Indiana. I want to say it was 141 arrests. Point is this: how do y'all figure that these dudes are not on thin ice if they're being pulled? They're pulled. Listen, ain't no business so good. These business people, they think with their lives if their life is threatened. They only think with their pocketbook when they don't think that that's not a problem. Once they realize that their mortality is on the line, they respond differently. All the stuff that we're seeing is a response to that. Let's just read. In a response to incidents in Reedley, Reps Kevin Kiley, and Jim Acosta, so a Republican and a Democrat, and David Valadao, who's a Republican as well out of California, introduced the Preventing Illegal Laboratories and Protecting Public Health Act of 2025, bipartisan legislation designed to strengthen federal oversight of highly pathogenic agents and high contaminant laboratories to protect Americans from public health and national security threats. Listen, it's not just nukes. It's ricin. I forget the one nerve agent they used to have in all the movies uh, back in the day. It might come to me. It might not. But anyway, and it was like the nerve gas in his head. It would always have him fucked up. All that kind of stuff, man. Like we're dealing with a different time, y'all. It's not what it used to be. You know, I was gonna get super duper carried away with this thing where I was gonna do the little spot where I was gonna show them how China is selling rat now. You know, it's just out in the open selling rat. Like, and that's why they can't say nothing bad to me, because it's not hate speech if it's true. That's why I say what I be saying, because my videos really be on point. I don't be saying nothing that's not true, y'all, or at least from what I understand. Word, they educated people on shit like this. It's my job to relearn what I need to relearn. But if you already taught me this and this is all I know, that's all I know. You know, it's not my job to go back behind these people for every little thing. You know, water is wet still. So as I learn, as I continue to be a person and live this life, I'm going to continue to learn and make the proper adjustments, you know, towards attitude and towards other things, you know, as needed. But that being said, bipartisan bill. All these dudes felt that it was important. And for folks who don't get it, people go from Vegas to California all the time. So it's not impossible to think that this dude was driving from the desert, right, out to California, trying to be, you know, secluded and doing some questionable activities. You don't know what these guys are trying to do. You got all kind of stuff coming up. Man, these anti-terrorism dude, these anti-this, these anti-that guys, they're all on top of it right now because they want to have the Olympics down there in LA. They want to have the Super Bowl next year, you know, at the SoFi Stadium or whatever. Like, so I'm just thinking, like, you know, it's a tough one. You know, go Hawks. You know, just throw that out there real quick. Super Bowl 60, baby. This can't keep happening, said Congressman Kiley. The federal government must do more to stop illegal labs from operating in our communities. This bipartisan bill closes loopholes that allow dangerous facilities like these to operate under the radar. The what? This bipartisan bill closes loopholes that allow dangerous facilities like these to operate under the radar. Now, those loopholes, I'm guessing, are the way certain things are worded. and how they can operate and do certain things in a certain kind of district where really what they're doing, there's some of these dudes might not be breaking the law, is what they're pretty much saying. Like they're saying it's illegal, but really these dudes are using loopholes. So really they're circumventing the law. So they're trying to make it illegal. But what makes it truly illegal is because these dudes aren't fully vetted by the government. Right. And they think that these dudes are spies. After the Reedley lab was discovered, Congressman Kiley requested an investigation. The House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, they have a House Select Committee. So there's a group of people in the House of Representatives that actually actively look into this. Issued a report with the following findings. The illegal lab was run by a PRC citizen who was a wanted fugitive from Canada with a $330 million judgment against him for stealing American intellectual property. The PRC, the People's Republic of China. This PRC citizen was a top official at the PRC state-controlled company and had links to military civil fusion entities. Talking about some nuclear shit too now. Okay. The illegal biolab received millions of dollars in unexplained payments from PRC banks while running the illegal biolab. The illegal biolab contained thousands of samples, labeled and unlabeled, and encoded potential pathogens, including HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, and COVID. The illegal biolab also contained a freezer labeled Ebola, which contained labeled, unlabeled, sealed, and silver bags consistent with the lab stored high-risk biological materials. Ebola is a select agent with a lethality rate between 25 and 90%. So, so 1 in every 4 to 9 out of every 10. That's a cold ass range to have. The biolab contained nearly 1,000 transgenic mice genetically engineered to mimic the human immune system. The lab workers said the mice were designed to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. After local officials who discovered the lab sought help from the CDC and others, the CDC refused to test any of the samples. One last thing. Get all these links up here too. Give me 1 second to get these links popping. Now I want y'all to see this right here. Now this is the AI overview, but we're not going to worry about that. There was an article I seen not too long ago, not this year, but last year for sure, and it was I want to say it was with these dudes right here who had got arrested right here, these 3 dudes, right? And I just couldn't find it, and I just didn't feel like looking for it. But anyway, understand who they're finding in America, y'all. When you hear my dude Tom Homan, who talks with the lisp, right? Yeah, him. He's 10 toes down. Like he said, he was in the Obama administration. He oversaw millions of deportations then. So people got to understand, this dude knows what it's not all for rhetoric, y'all. Trump has been pushing up on the country of Iran like he ain't got no sense. But just look at this. Just look at this. The U.S. government has actively identified and apprehended individuals with suspected ties to terrorist organizations, particularly the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, designated as a foreign terrorist organization in 2019. The way they've always treated Iran, it doesn't matter when they was designated a terrorist organization. January 26 deportations. The Department of Homeland Security deported 3 former IRGC members, Eshan Kaladi, Mohammed Marani, and Morteza, I'm not even going to try to say my man's, Nasiri Kakokalaki. That man, this dude got a cold ass one. How many letters is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This nigga got a 14-letter last name. Just too much. We calling him Kolaki. You know what I'm saying? Nasir Kakolaki. Nasiri Kakolaki. That's what a name. Anyway, Let me leave that man alone because he's already been deported. All three had entered the U.S. illegally in late 2024 and were in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. June 2025 arrest. U.S. immigrations arrested 11 Iranian nationals across the country over a single weekend. Now, you guys remember what happened in June last year, right? They bombed the shit out of Iran, and then they went to go looking for anybody Iranian, had to get them up out of here who they thought was like that. Those arrested included individuals with criminal records or suspected terrorist ties, such as Ridvar Karimi, an alleged former spy for the alleged former sniper for the Iranian army, arrested in Alabama. Mehran McCarty Saheli, a former IRGC member who admitted ties to Hezbollah, arrested in Minnesota. Youssef Merideno, an Iranian national, previously a lawful permanent resident whose status was terminated after being listed as a known or suspected terrorist. I mean, look, we're not even going to get carried away with that. We're just going to stop sharing that together and get back to this point. You've got these dudes they are on the thinnest of the ice right now. And it's no pun intended, for real, because it takes one major incident right now. Right now, the way things stand, how volatile the situation is on the earth, one incident, and this shit will go all the way out of bounds where they're like, all these dudes got to go. Whoever has to go. This is why they're trying to push the Somalians up out, because quiet is kept. You know, the real reason they don't like when the East Africans get money, even the Nigerians get money, is because a lot of them do support so-called terrorists. You got to recognize, you're going to wash the money on accident, but the money gets traced back to you. So you send it to your uncle or your auntie, and you're supposed to be helping them get a well built or some kind of building built in the village or whatever, wherever you come from. Boom, you send the bread, and then they're giving the money to Boko Haram, to Al Shabaab, to whoever, right? You see what I'm saying? And so now it done changed the whole dynamic of how the U.S. government sees you. Now, you're not looking at it like I'm sending money to somebody who's funding a terrorist. Right. That's how easy it is to get hooked up like that. That quick. Takes zero effort. You don't even have to be trying to do it. So this is why when I tell people, like, be careful, what you do and who you affiliate with, who you associate with. And these dudes who don't realize, like, if you're coming straight out of a foreign country, you got to move differently. Everything you do has to be completely careful. It's a crying shame that it took them this long to figure out you shouldn't have people on the road. There should be nobody on the roads who can't speak English. If you can't speak English, you shouldn't be able to operate a vehicle in America of any kind. Man, they shouldn't even be able to ride a bicycle on the street. Man, you got to walk everywhere you go, dog, or catch public transportation. You can't drive nowhere. Because if they cannot read something, or they can't see something, that is the kind of shit that puts everybody in danger. Right. One mistake or mismove or whatever people want to say, mismanagement, that's all it takes is one time, and it's finite. I'm willing to bet $1 to a dime that a disproportionate number of people who were killed by semi-truck drivers in the last 10 years have been killed by more foreigners than anybody else. And I'm willing to bet $1 to a dime that in the last 5 years, most of those dudes didn't speak English. Very little. They got RIC on thin ice. I'm not going to say on purpose, but they put themselves there because these dudes want to double dip. You can't come to another country. Look, if I show up in China, I cannot start selling dope. It's a death sentence if I get caught, y'all. It's over. So it's like, but you got dudes who will come here and they're taking even greater chances. Oh, we already know. Look, the channel been shadow banned for years and years, fam. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing. All I can do is accept it. All I can do is accept it. And they ain't cooked for that. They cook for all the suppression of any form of truth to where people couldn't get to the real truth. Because all I'm saying is that in white heaven, right? And white heaven by definition is literally this is what they dreamed of. It can't get any better. When they say make America great again, it's like they're talking about a stage at this point in this place. But really, they can it'll never go back because they didn't maintain and do anything they were supposed to do. And they mistreated our people then. When there was no internet, when there was no where any of that, and black people still told the truth and still spoke up and still talked about how the denigrated circumstance and situation that the black man, woman, and child lived in was something that America should have found it as untenable. But because they postulate themselves and they build themselves up on looking how bad you do. That's how again, they don't care about nothing else. How bad is the nigga doing? Because if you're struggling to pay mortgage, property tax, rent, whatever, right? Alimony, child support, car note, you see what I'm saying? Grocery bills, whatever. If there's a struggle there, right? They created that on purpose again for us to go through. And for us to be in a situation where, for a man to speak on that, and for those people to have been hushed, some of them literally put into the dirt because they would speak up loudly about it. RIC is on thin ice because they put themselves here. Now, I want people to think about something diabolical. What's to stop a Chinese restaurant from serving you mouse that the dude hooked up in the lab with COVID or malaria or something like that, or to put it into a cat or to any other thing? Right. See, what they were doing was called challenging the gain of function. And when you challenge the gain of function, you're trying to see to what level is it truly transmissible, and then how effective will it be once it is transmitted. So now they're not going to go into that on that us.gov site, but I'm going to just give y'all a quick synopsis and a quick understanding of it. Is that pretty much if they can get it to where we can transmit this right off rip. So if somebody consumes it, that's it. They got it. Again, everybody jokes around and be like, oh, Chen Wong Dong is serving the mystery meat. But really understand, how easy would that be for a place like San Francisco or something like that, right? With a bunch of those, highly suspect mom and pop Chinese restaurants, for them to serve up some of that nasty stuff. Again, why every Chinatown on the earth had COVID worse than everywhere else did? And that's not me defecating on the Chinese. That's just, it's ostensibly true. It's the truth. Even furthermore with that though, we're in a situation where RIC, Russia, Iran, China, has put themselves in a situation where, again, America has to be adversarial. Have no choice. They have no choice. I wish an American person would go to Russia, somehow get a fake CDL license, and then kill 4 Russian citizens. They're going to whoop that ass to the gulag. Believe that. Believe that. Facts. Facts on facts on facts. And I don't care what color you are. They're going to beat that ass to the gulag. If Brittany Griner hadn't been a famous, whatever you want to call it, famous WNBA, if you want to say she's not famous, known enough to where it made a big deal, if she hadn't been at her status in life, Brittany Griner would have got her ass beat to the gulag. Believe that. Believe that. You want to bring this smut into our country? We got enough problems as it is, and then you want to bring this trash into here? We got you. We're going to whoop that ass like it ain't never been whooped before. They'd have whooped you like you was one of those terrorists who attacked Moscow. Yeah, for sure. And I'm not talking no shit. I'm just saying. America don't do that, though. These dudes been able to come over here for generations, rape women, leave bastard children, murder people, and run away. I mean, just all kind of straight up just fucked up stuff they've been able to do. And they still get away with it to this day. And they're on thin ice. The black man still gets locked up unrighteously as all these things happen. Now, I can't find an article or something. Right now, there was a brother right now who got arrested just today, yesterday, on the day when this happened. And he getting charged with something that he didn't even do. See, we was born on thin ice, so it's different for us. That's why our parents have to teach us don't do certain things. Hey, don't do that. Because if you get out here in this world, when you get older and you do that, they'll bust your ass. My parents didn't sugarcoat things to me, so I understand where I get it. I'm not going to lie to myself. And you got these little dudes who are literally running around here not understanding, like, man, there are groups of individuals who have no vested interest in seeing you do better. None. In fact, they actually, your failure, your demise, destruction, and death, in its most expedient ways, is to their advantage in all ways, shapes, and form. One of these little Indian dudes late last year had killed a whole family of black people. And I just was like, see, it's too bad I can't go to where his people is from and just wipe the whole village out, because that's what they deserve. Y'all didn't create no opportunities for this dude so that way he wouldn't come over here and do some crazy shit like that. I don't care if he did it on purpose. I don't give no fucks. Like I said, there's a nigga right now getting charged with something he did not do, she did not do. And they're going to have to face and sit down for some time just for the state to say that they made a mistake and give them a bunch of lip service and don't even want to restitute or repatriate them. Right. Meanwhile, Chen Wang Dong and Igor can come over to this motherfucker and kill people in vehicles, and all they got to worry about is getting deported back to where they came from. That's garbage. That's complete, utter garbage. Again, if it was apples to apples, and they caught these dudes like that, the state of Pennsylvania should be sued for the amount of money Pennsylvania should be giving up right now. They should be trying to talk about selling both their football teams, basketball teams, and everything for that kind of shit. You shouldn't be able to people should not be dead off this earth due to a piece of machinery and witchcraft, and a motherfucker who was powering it is sitting in a cell getting 3 hots in the cot. Nah, should be whooping their ass to the American gulag. That's for sure. Shouldn't be no kind of comfort for them, but instead it is. That's why I'm so glad that Rick is on the thinnest. They ain't never been on this kind of thin ice. A quick history lesson. After World War II, the reason why China was able to get into industry in the first place is because America made exclusive contracts with them that they could produce toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, combs, razors, a whole bunch of like cheap like products, right? They offered this same thing to Russia. They offered the same deal to Russia. Russia turned it down. And at the time, it was the USSR. The USSR turned it down. It was like, no, we're good. We're not going to do that. We'll produce our own. Had the USSR done that, like the Chinese did, the situation we're looking at with Rick, we wouldn't even be in. They didn't even have the foresight to say we want to actually work for the money. Right. They didn't have the foresight to say, yeah, we actually will produce our own goods that are made in here. So instead, that's why you see everything made in China. A lot of people don't know that. They think it just happened because the Chinese are smarter. No, that's not how it happened. It literally happened. The way I said it is how they set it up and structured it. So because you have a group of individuals who were gifted, again, never did nothing like this for black people. Never was like, you know what, we're just gonna put factories in the hood and y'all can make it. Right. Where's the made in East St. Louis at? Where's the made in Mobile, Alabama at? Huh? Where's the made in Newark, New Jersey at? Where's the made in Harlem? Made in the Bronx? Right. They didn't do that. They sent everything to right. And they did that on purpose. So when people ask this question, like, why are you so whatever? What I'm like, bro, because Rick was given a welfare lifeline off of our shoulders, right, 80 years ago. And they still ain't did nothing with it. And people got the nerve to copy everything that our people do. I'd be so insulted to see a Korean barbecue or Chinese soul food. All that shit is so insulting. It is. It's just an insult. It's just an insult. Like, can't do nothing for yourselves, is what that tells me. But at the same time, want to come here and depose my people of a position and then just try to extricate us from the earth. Bitch, you got me fucked up on multiple levels. You see, but white heaven let it be like that. White heaven wanted it like that. Again, these dudes cry and complain and talk a lot of shit, but one thing they do have right, when they talk about those buffer classes, which is an old school term, beyond any one of them saying that. And those buffer classes are real, but the main one, RIC, Russia, Iran, China, the old school Ilkhanate, they are on the thinnest of ice. And I am so damn glad. I am. I can't be happier. I can't be. I can't be any more satisfied at the idea that if these dudes take another critical L, I'm talking about like not running somebody over. Let somebody like Mom Donnie over there in New York, let one of his people who I know somebody he's dealing with got some terrorist connections. It's a fact. Like I said, it's too easy to get caught up in that. I'm sure if the FBI, but then again, all these dudes are caught up in all that. You see what I'm saying? That's why when they say, "Oh, this person is associated with terrorism," like everybody who's at that level is associated with terrorism. There's no way you can't be if you do business with certain people, right? You would have to be. It's literally impossible not to. If you're sending money to an imam in freaking Oman, right? You don't know where that money's going. You have no idea. You have no clue what they're doing with that money. You're not there to actually see them spend it. That's it. And so people have to recognize it. Like this, it takes very little. I'm waiting for one of these dudes who's high enough up where when they get caught up, there's no escape from it. Zero. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for they can no longer avoid it. They have to say, okay, we have to treat all these people like enemies. I can't wait. It's coming. I can smell it on the horizon. Trust me. And one of the things I've touched on very, very, very briefly in the recent past, I speak on it now so that way we all know where we stand. Jack knows I'm not going to tell y'all no lies. They say this is truth serum. They say you speak your two true feelings when you on some of this, right? So while I got a little bit in my system, my two true feelings is that there's going to be a draft if there's a real war. And Rick being on thin ice, they're going to be some of the first ones drafted. Mm-hmm. Of course, Darquavius has to go. That's a foregone conclusion. He getting drafted. Right on? Yeah. Pookie Jenkins Jr. Yeah, he getting drafted. However, don't worry, because Duyan, Ishbal, Igor, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They all got to go. They all got to go too. They don't get to just sit back in the cuts like they have been for the last 50, 60 years. I mean, literally unfettered access to all kinds of resources. And it's taken America bleeding out $30 trillion over the last 20 years to realize, like, okay, yeah, maybe we don't like these guys as much as we thought we did. Maybe I can live without beef teriyaki. Right. All of a sudden. All of a sudden, right. 7-Elevens ran by Arabs and Indians and Pakistanis. All of a sudden, it wasn't such a good idea. And it's not a hit on those individuals. Look, they're letting them get paid. Why would I be mad at them for getting paid? I'm just pointing out the fact that a dude who can barely read and write the language of the land is being given an opportunity to accrue fiduciary means over people who actually are literate within the means thereof. And only because they have mitigating circumstances, i.e., they're a felon, right on? So they have a piece of paperwork that can be held over their head to keep them from something. And these other individuals from God knows where, from the moon, from the middle of the earth, I don't know where they're from the ocean, wherever they're from, right? They get to show up and they get to just act as if they just deserve a fresh start. But you can't, within this same land, go do that yourself. That's bullshit. It's hypocritical. And that's why these guys are on thin ice, because they never proved themselves to be worthy. If they were, they would have fixed their homelands. This is a fact. Before I get ready to roll up out of here, I know there was a video I did years and years and years ago. Death of a Doctrine. And the very first one is about this guy named Mulanga Karenga, I want to say, right? Brother Andre got me to get into that whole movement. And Mulanga Karenga, we've talked about it, and we're pretty sure he was CIA. And he invented Kwanzaa, all that nonsense, right? A guy like him was able to bring black people to their knees almost. Like when black people were at their weak, I know this is going to sound crazy. When black people had more going on financially in the 80s and 90s, especially in the 90s when the Kwanzaa was huge, right? They were at their weakest. And these groups still couldn't do anything. I mean, think about this, but every bad thing this country has ever had happen to it has happened to black people tenfold. The Depression was, right, we're just going to skip past slavery and all that. The Depression. However bad they think it was for white folks, it was just as bad for a nigga, way worse in many other cases. You know what I mean? Black people who starved to death during that? Huh? Stop it. Right? During the Dust Bowl, how many black people starved to death and died? Right? When they made social security, operative word social, so I mean it's a socialist thing because it's not called capital security. So that wasn't when they talk about black people getting welfare. Black people were not the recipients that was not made for us. That was made for old dusty ass white folks who never did nothing in their life. And because Eleanor Roosevelt felt that it was necessary to make sure that all white people didn't just look stupid, right? After all that bigotry and all that hate, all that vitriol all their life and having nothing to show for it, right? What do? They take the coffers that are because again, everything is built on slavery in this country. No matter what, you think slavery built all this shit. Every institution benefited from it. Even if they did not have slaves directly doing things, they are beneficiaries of slavery. And these motherfuckers, Rick, they know it. All these people who come here, they know it. And so when you have individuals who can't understand, like we went through everything that you can go through tenfold. You know how many black people were killed and literally disappeared out of nowhere, in the middle of the night? 100 motherfuckers showing up with no mask on, no Klan robes at all, just 100 deep, crazy ass peckerheads with rifles and shotguns, talking about bring him out or we'll come in there and kill everybody. Right. So while black people were going through that kind of crazy shit, Rick has had an entire whole free slate to do their thing, to build up their cachet in this land, to actually make a name for themselves. And what have they done? Right. The most debased part of all society is what they want to be most known for. No group. The only group who tries to say that they work hard, but we all know they're lazy, are Mexicans. As far as like all the foreigners, I'll say that. At least the Asians don't come here talking about how hard they work. Some of them would say that bullshit, but they don't really. No, they don't. No, they don't say that bullshit. They're not stupid. Not to me. They don't say it. Maybe to these other dudes, they say that. But because of how I speak, they already know. Don't try to lie to him about that kind of shit. Because I know what's going on. So when you have people from a foreign nation, a little mud hut nation, and got the nerve to fix their two dirty ass privy members sucking lips about anything that deals with the matters of this land in white heaven, you got me fucked up. And I am excited that they are on the thinnest of the ice. When George Floyd protests were popping out, I don't remember seeing these kind of articles ever really like that. They were damn near like, I mean, I'm talking about like these dudes from foreign countries killing people all over the freeway. And they've been doing this for who knows how long. Again, how many of these dudes do you think are rapists? Done murdered? Yeah, that's right. How many of these dudes who you think that they done arrested done kidnapped a little black girl off the streets, or a black woman who was a lot lizard and living the wrong kind of life? Just okay then. And threw their body somewhere and got rid of them. These are the individuals we're dealing with. Shit. You giggling, nigga. This shit is for real, dog. I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. You know, I got no reason, again, to say something that I don't think merits being brought up, because when they talk about how bad it is for this and this and this group, or how bad it is for that group, like imagine all the brothers who would have more money if they didn't have to compete with people who aren't even supposed to be here, felon or not. Right. And last time I checked, for all the weirdo, sexual, pervert deviants that are running around the hood, when they get caught, niggas kill them in the hood. We don't just let dudes like that go to jail. Those dudes get touched. Right. But these dudes are the ones who were dealing in sex trafficking and all that kind of weird shit. Again, while we have gone through the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, these dudes have been there capitalizing on all of our motherfucking suffering. And it's about time that they just get their coattails pulled. And y'all should be excited. Don't be sad for none of these dudes. If they ain't did nothing wrong, Like they used to tell niggas, right? If you ain't did nothing wrong, why you running? If did I tell a lie? Right. If you ain't did nothing wrong, why you running? I could apply that logic to why they left their country. If how do you figure that you was in danger where you're from, but you're no longer in danger once you got to America? Like the people where you was at just couldn't come to America and find you one day. I mean, the earth is smaller than people think it is. Every day, some dude who ran off on a plug or fuck some dude's chick or whatever, runs into these people in a whole nother state, in a whole nother time zone, across the earth somewhere. Happens every day. And then the reckoning and the recompense takes place. Their reckoning is coming upon them. Because for so many years, they've been able to stand on our shoulders and spit in our faces while they do it. This old saying that goes, you're not going to piss down my back and tell me it's rain. And that's what Rick has done. That's what white heaven has made us to take from all these different individuals. And everybody think all these dudes is tough. And can't none of them fuck with us on no level. But what I said, I had said it on the truthful level because, again, I guarantee you, if they got all the weird ass, not supposed to be here type motherfuckers up out of here, I bet you would see the number of missing black women decrease. Guarantee it. Don't speak the language. Don't share the culture. Don't give a fuck. Think they care about our people? Think they care about our women? Laying up with somebody and caring about them are way different. Same thing with the females from them cultures. First thing that comes to my mind was his brother that was married to some Asian chick in California years ago. And she managed to get another brother and this white dude to kill him over the babies because he was about to get custody because the bitch wasn't shit. Again, everybody gets to stand on our shoulders. I'm glad that they got to go. They got to go. Nigga, listen, for real. Do not let anybody make you believe that you owe it to a loser, right on, to let them win. You don't. You don't. Who is it? What's up, big dog?
Me and my roommate, Michael, are going to be having a Know Your Kitchen and Neighbors gathering on Sunday at 4 o'clock. He'll be cooking free food. It's always good. We'd love it if you and anybody who lives with can make it.
All right, you done. You take it easy. Appreciate it. Marcus?
Yes, what's your name?
Demetrius.
Demetrius.
All right,
Nice to meet you.
take it easy, man.
Yep, you want.
Just got me an invite somewhere for some free food on Sunday. We'll see if I go. Anyway, like I was saying, Rick ain't shit. Motherfucker been riding our people's coattail for all these years, standing on our motherfucking shoulders and spitting on our face. And I'm just glad to see like any kind of little highlight of how these little bastards are actually about to be getting treated. What do you think is going to happen again? You think they're going to keep letting them find Chinese labs? You think they're just going to keep letting Chinese students come over here and bring fucking pathogens to the United States? At some point, they're going to have to nip it in the bud. It doesn't matter. And these dudes who talk all this bullshit about, you can't be in isolation, that's actually you can. Actually, you can be an isolationist and live and still do a little commerce to know what's going on. You don't have to deal with other people. You don't. They want you to believe that. If you really have to deal with other people, listen, tell me this. How many times has somebody else's power went off, but your power was still on during the storm? For all the people who know what I'm talking about, raise your hand. Vice versa. Have you ever had your power go off and somebody else's power not go off? Been through that too. What I'm saying is this. You have individuals who don't realize that what you're going through is an individual street. Like you have to fight all by yourself. But you have these cats who are up in here who want to think that they're going to kumbaya and hold hands with us again while trying to stand on my fucking shoulders or trying to stand on your shoulders and trying to spit in our faces. Because that's what they want to do. White heaven is not built for you to succeed. It's not. Again, if all black people are pulling from less than 1 penny, and I hate to have to bring shit like this up, but it's like almost as if niggas just be forgetting. Like, you know, everything I know I bring to the table, to the forefront. So I would never say something and then not be able to like substantially back it up. Black people have been pulling from less than a penny since we've been in this nation. How are there people who how could somebody who's the reason why their nation is in shambles be able to come here and have access to more than a penny? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. How many of these dudes you think are driving these fucking trucks and doing all these jobs are sending money to actual terrorists? Huh? Better yet, how many of them you think then kidnapped a little black girl, black woman, hell, even a black man, and now they got their ass in people trafficked. And they're taking those funds and using them for nefarious activities. It's deeper than rap, y'all. For sure, for sure. It's not nowhere close to the size of the Most High God, but it's bigger than a man. And than any man we know, for sure. It is a gargantuan situation. Ginormous, as we used to say when I was little. And it is one that you cannot overstate the fact that they deserve to be removed by all means. And you cannot overstate the fact that they deserve to be drafted by all means. I'm praying that the latter comes first. I'm praying. I've been praying so hard that Iran or somebody pop it off. I'm like, just pop it off. They're so scared because again, they've never had it like this, y'all. It's never been any better for them. Let them tell it. The earth has never been this good. I don't know because the earth is on the brink of destruction. So how could this be the best it's ever been? And this shit's on the again. Niggas don't make no sense, but because Rick is on thin ice, all this whole shit, white heaven is about to crumble upon itself. Because you got these individuals up in here with us who are not who they say they are. The best of any nation now only comes for money. Back in the day, when people were actually coming to America, that was not their best. England did not send their best. Right on. The conquistadors who came to America were not the best. Right. The Portuguese who came here were not the best. The only thing that was the best that came here on a boat were the black people that were brought here, who were the best at everything they did in the land that people call Africa now, that some people antiquate to Kemet. Now, don't y'all think that's just a little bit something right there? Right. So my axe that I'm grinding right now is one of righteousness. They deserve to see the axe that's gonna crack their head. They deserve to see it. and they deserve to hear why it's going to crack their head. So that way when they get cracked in their head, they're not like, why is he doing this? They're like, we put that overtime in. Y'all did. And you guys are owed a paycheck for that. We owe you for all that overtime y'all put in. We owe you. Listen, I'd be so aggravated sometimes. I'd be so aggravated. I'd be so trying to not get into no shit. But I always remind myself, like, Meech, most of these dudes who are out here in the world are not going to be moving like you move. Most of them don't even care if they die tomorrow. Like, they just don't care. They already gave up. See what I'm saying? They're not resolute to seeing this shit through to the end. I'm willing to see this shit to the bitter end, the sweet end, the bittersweet, the sweetly bitter, whatever it is. The hot, the cold, the everything in between. Let's go. If all I got is a nub left, right on, no legs left, no arms left. All I can do is squiggle my way to the finish line. If that's all I can do, we doing it. Quitting is not an option. Giving up is not an option. Dying in the process is always going to be something that anybody has to accept. But these individuals have already given up on themselves. Truly. And it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad sight to see when there's so many people of a particular ilk who've just totally cashed in. Black men and black women have they've just surrendered. If they gave you reparations right now, how do you protect it? Better yet, how do you invest it in a world where they're talking about blowing the whole bitch up? You're just gonna go just live your life until they do whatever they do? Stupid. They owe me $1 trillion, nigga, and I won't back down on none of that. I need all the trillion with the T. Need all mines. And that's not a price that can be negotiated at this point. Like I said, they done fucked up 30 whole trillion of them in the last 20 years. They could have easily gave me one of those. I mean, you just gonna fuck it off? If you're just gonna fuck off a whole trillion, let me show you how to fuck it up the right way. For real, for real. No jokes, no laughing matter. So when people say the kind of dumb shit that they be saying, it's like, man, the fuck out my face with that. Because I already know what I'm about. I know the life that I need to live. I know the life that I'm going to live. I know who I'm going to be in the end. All these so-called self-righteous, sanctimonious motherfuckers who, oh, this guy smokes weed and he drinks. And yet you ain't never said one of the things that I done said before I said it. They come here and they're gonna ride the coattail on this one, brothers and sisters. Trust me. That's why I had to hold out for days and days and days. I've been waiting to see. I want Iran and them to pop this shit the fuck off. So these bitch ass niggas who coattail ride, when they see the draft coming and they see all that shit coming, all they can say is, damn, he was right. And I pray that these niggas who hate me the most, their sons are old enough to have to go fight in whatever conflict is coming up. I pray for it. I pray for all the people who were truly the of my people, for all their sons to have to go fight. Yeah. And then once they do the little so-called draft shit they gonna do, that's when they're gonna try to enslave niggas. Some weird shit like that. It's not gonna be no obvious enslavement either. It's gonna be an all hands on deck. That all hands on deck is gonna look awfully like some slavery though. I'm trying to tell y'all. Why should you have to do anything in a nation that literally has brought nothing to you, and every single time they had a chance to betray their fucking word, they did? Before I really get ready to roll up out of here real soon, it's not for the faint-hearted, the shit that I'm saying. I'm saying? It's not. This shit is not for niggas who are, because everything I'm saying is not a joke. I laugh and smile a lot, but I be serious and I be dead the fuck serious about this shit. I'm all the way dead ass serious when I say, like, how much do you think they've, off the suffering of your people? I don't give a fuck what they did to their own people. That's got nothing to do with me. My people got something to do with me. Your people got something to do with you. That's got something to do with us. How many of our people do you think these dirty bastards who are on thin ice now have been able to persecute and totally ruin their lives for decades? And they're just now they're just now starting to be looked at as the problem that they are. I am so glad that there is no escape for them. Where can they go? Where? Ask yourself this, and we roll out on this too. If white heaven has Rick on thin ice, where are black people? I said, we was born on thin ice. That's right, we in the fucking freezing ass water, dying. You got brothers like myself who's selfless enough to go out there and try to, do the rescues and shit, but we're not gonna let them pull us down into the water with them. They ain't listen. They ain't listen. When we got about that shit freezing cold and had to strip down to our skivvies, had to get an emergency fire started, had to build an igloo, all kinds of bullshit. Yeah, like for real, for real. You got to understand this is not for the squeamish and the faint at heart. This is for people who understand that very soon here, there's going to be some shit that's popping off that there ain't going to be no kind of distraction from it. There's not going to be any sort of way to avoid it. And there ain't going to be no liking, sharing, or subscribing that will mitigate, obfuscate, eradicate, abdicate, nothing. All people will have to confront it face to face. And that is the beauty of this thing. I only pray that while we're in white heaven, that while Rick is on thin ice, it continues to break. And all of them get a little piece of the feeling that we've had for our whole lives. That there's people steadily watching you drown. And the few people who know how to keep you alive are those who are keeping everything away from you. Everything. Because their survival depends on it. We don't live in a land of meritocracy where hard work rules the day. We live in a land where it can't even be called nepotism, because nepotism has a level of merit where at least you're somebody's relative. Or how is it nepotism if you just let a dude come up over here and just get a fucking license and just drive on the fucking freeway? That's not nepotism, my brothers and sisters. That's something else. And I'm so glad that whole system is on thin ice. I salute you. I salute you once more. I salute you again. May tomorrow be better than today. And may your next week, in all ways, shapes, and forms, in the righteous ways, surpass the last. And remember this. It's not because white heaven has Rick that Rick is on thin ice. It's because white heaven was always on thin ice. This whole thing has always been a fragile, at any time it could implode upon itself sort of thing. And we're watching Rick do its part. Don't get in the way. Stay out the way. Because when the ice breaks, all that are around it will fully, for sure, fall within. And I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it that the ice is about to break, y'all.